dangers of dating a male gold digger. Hello, my name is Chengi, and you, my precious one, are my world. Welcome to Chengi's World, here where I teach you ladies how to present as a high value, high status, high worth woman that men find completely irresistible. Can I get an amen? And we're not just talking about any kind of man, we're talking about high quality, high value men find completely irresistible. So if that's your jam, if that's something that you're interested in, something that you think, yeah, I'm ready to meet an amazing high value man, then you are at the right channel, because this is where I teach you how to do just that. Okie dokie. So let's move forward with today's video. Now, I know that we've heard a lot about gold diggers. When we hear gold digger, what we put in that phrase is a woman. We put a girl, a woman, somebody with you know, terrible intention, somebody who wants to use, abuse, and then bugger off. Really a narcissistic personality that's just in it for the money. But what has happened is that used to be a great term just for women, because for a long time women did not and could not make the same kind of money that men could make. But now we live in the modern age, and what has been neglected is the idea that actually women are making as much money, if not more, than men in the 21st century. And so we now have a new problem. We have a new problem where men are rising up and using women as financial leverage to get them to the next stage in their lives. It's not always obvious because of the male-female dynamic, the masculine energy and feminine dynamic, and the dating and courting rituals that are a part of our culture. A man tends to be the one who pays for dates. He tends to be the one that shows up and pays. He tends to be the one that leads, the one that spoils, the one that's in the giving, because that is the masculine role. And so it's harder for a woman to really see if the person who is in the giving role is actually a gold digger, because how can you be a gold digger when you're in the giving role? And this is where we get stumped. And I remember quite a while ago talking to a guy, friend of mine, who came to my house, and he was looking around and he was like, you know, look at what you've built, look at your car, look at your home, look at what you have. And he said, Chengi, you've got to be careful, because there are a lot of men that will come into your life, you know, seemingly like they've got something to offer, but really they are just trying to, you know, benefit or springboard off your life. So you have to be particularly careful. And it's only then that I realized that actually that was a possibility that never ever occurred to me before, because I was raised in an era and an age where men had pride and would never want to live off a woman. So it never occurred to me that there is this breed, and this breed is not just it didn't arrive yesterday. This is a breed that has been groomed from childhood. This is a part of the kind and the type of man that a successful, smart, ambitious, single women have to be very, very careful of, because now the tables have turned on us, thanks to, you know, women being liberated and being able to express themselves and earn a certain amount of money. And whilst I know there's a whole fight about earning the same, etc., that is going on still, if you look in our culture, women are doing better than men for the most part. So what I want to say to you is this. Yes, I believe that it is possible to be with a man who has less than you, as long as he's showing drive and ambition and go-getter, and his plan is viable. It's not some pipe dream of then one day I'll meet somebody who's gonna just make the difference in my life. But a man who really is working out a plan, and you know that all they need is a little bit of a nudge in the right area, and they will make it to their destination. That is not just investing in potential, that is investing in somebody who is on a trajectory. That is like getting on a train, a fast train to a destination. You know it's on the tracks, you know it's already moving, you know it's at the stop to pick up what it needs to get to where it needs to go to. That is not investing in potential. Investing in potential and accepting a man is a man who has a pipe dream, a man who doesn't really have any kind of thing that he's doing, but you know, maybe just has this job and is working this job and doesn't pay very well, but you know, he's hoping to one day start a business or go back to Africa or the Caribbean or back to his country in Europe or wherever it is you are in the world, where he's gonna just earn all this money, then go back to his country and do this wonderful business that's going to make him a gazillionaire. That is a whole different concept. That is buying into a pipe dream and really buying into something that is unhealthy. But I want to talk to you about the 3 types of men that, and maybe there are more, and maybe I'll explore more of those, that are gold diggers. And then we'll do another video about the signs of a gold digger. What are the things that you can kind of look for in order to know whether or not you are right now dealing with a guy that is a gold digger? Number 1 is the obvious guy. He's the younger guy, older woman situation. Now, don't get me wrong, I've done videos on this channel. I am pro-love. I am pro-love even if the maths and the age don't compute. I myself have dated men who were considerably younger, up to 10 years younger than me, and I have had a wonderful experience, and sometimes even entertained the attention of men who are way younger than that, okay? And we were able to relate on a mental and emotional level. And so I will be the last person to tell anybody not to date somebody, a woman not to date somebody younger, because you might actually find an old soul in a young man. But what I'm talking about here is these young men that are, by the younger guy, older woman dynamic that I'm talking about is in a situation, for instance, where I had a comment in my comment section once when I did the younger guy, older woman, the truth about dating younger men, I believe. And sadly, I deleted it because I was offended and I don't like that sort of energy on my channel. But this lady was commenting and saying, oh, look at her with all that makeup. She was insulting me, of course. And there was a lot of venom coming out of her comment, because basically she's the older woman dating a younger man. She's, I think, in her 50s and her boyfriend is like 25. And so I sort of went to the profile to have a look and see if she was a hot 50. You know, we got hot 50s, hot 60s, hot 40s. Totally, there are women who just are aging so damn well in the 21st century that honestly, age is nothing but a number in terms of how they look. So I thought maybe she's one of these hot women. Of course, she was talking about Susan Winter, and when you look at Susan Winter, she is a beautiful blonde older woman, and I can see how a much younger man would find her attractive. She takes good care of herself. You can tell she's fit, and so she does a lot of work with older women, younger men, and does a lot of work encouraging. But I don't really think she was talking about this particular 50-year-old. This particular 50-year-old looked like she was dating her son's friend, right? Her son's friend. Like, listen, if he looks like your son, your nephew, or your little brother when you're walking out on the streets, there is a problem, because that guy who is good looking, you know, in great shape, etc., is obviously having much younger women throw themselves at him, okay? He obviously has a younger woman side relationship going on. You are the extracurricular activity that he is using in order to pay his way through school or get the clothes that he needs to impress the girlfriend he really wants. You are the bank behind the process. You know, he goes and sees his girlfriend, he spends your money. And the problem with allowing this to happen to you is, yes, you'll be like, oh, the sex is so good, we'll have so much fun, but you're living in a bubble. And when that bubble bursts, your heart is going to be broken in a million different pieces, because you thought that actually there was something real. Now, even if it feels real to you, you've got to ask yourself, what would a young guy that young, half my age, want with a woman like me, other than he's just trying to get a mother figure and there's a mother wound that I'm supposed to be healing. Either way, whether you're there as some self-medicating mother wound healer or the bank, a high-value woman would never allow herself to be put in such a position. Now listen to me. If you decide that that's a deal that works for you, it's convenient for you, and that works for you, and you know that you can sustain that to the very end, please know that he will eventually at some point leave, and you can't get your feelings, and you can't get your feelings in that. So that's one type of gold digging man. So whenever a younger guy, much younger guy, comes over to you, and you know that you don't hit the gym, you know that you're not that girl that is on fleek 24/7, even though you're 50 or 60 or 40, you know you're the I've just let it go years ago kind of woman, your hairstyle is from the 19, I don't know, you just look like somebody's auntie, you know yourself, you know that really your avatar and the way you show up in the world really would only attract a man that is much older than you, but this younger guy wants to talk to you. Let that be an alarm bell. And for those of you who do look younger and do keep yourselves, don't let your ego decide. He doesn't have to close his eyes real tight or imagine his younger girlfriend when he's having sex with you. Doesn't necessarily mean that he is going to fall for you. It doesn't mean that, he's not after what you can give him to, and he gets to have a sexy older lady, a sexy younger lady. The older lady makes up for it by paying the bills. He gets to drive her car. He gets to live with her and not have to worry about rent. And she happens to be sexy. So he gets to get the best of both worlds. It's really very important for your mental and emotional health to really be tuned in to this reality. The second guy that is a gold digger is what I call the divorcing or divorced man. Men that are coming out of divorces or trying to come out of a marriage are facing big financial losses. They probably have to pay alimony. They definitely have to pay child support. And so a huge chunk of their income has already been spoken for. And usually these men were used to living in a house. They were used to having the essential stuff around them. They had a house, they had a garage, they had a shed, they had a home too that they are having to lose. Now, these men are going to intuitively and instinctively go for usually a single mom, a divorced woman who probably ended up with alimony and the family and the children, because he doesn't want to miss out on the lifestyle. He still wants to have a home like he used to have a home. He still wants to build himself up as well. And so you become the gold mine that he's trying to dig. Now, a lot of women think that, oh, I've got to be rich for a man to want to dig I've got to drive a Mercedes, I've got to have a Bentley or whatever it is for a man to see me. But no, sometimes the digging of gold is really just about wanting a share of that which you have built so that they can really begin to... Could you try again? So that they can begin to rebuild their lives on your back. And when they have done that and they're financially stronger, their kids have grown, they can then bounce off and go and find the woman that they really wanted. You have to understand that we are all survival-based beings. We're all looking to survive. But you have to position yourself so that you are not the meat that is being hunted, but that the person that you end up with is somebody that you can build together, who your equity in the relationship, what you bring in the relationship is equal. And I'm not talking necessarily about money, but I'm talking about the equity of what you get and what you give. There's equality. So whenever a man is like, I'm going to move in with you, right? And we're going to talk about some of the signs of a gold digging man that, and a lot of us, so the divorced or divorcing man who's trying to maintain his lifestyle, that is another kind of gold digging man. And that man is merciless because he will go for the single mom, even if she's struggling. The single mom that's ambitious and focused, he will go for her, or he will go for the divorced woman. He is the person who's going to prey on the wounds, and then he's going to sit in there and continue whatever behavior caused them to get divorced in the previous relationship whilst you foot the bill. Then you have your bachelor on the level up guy. This one is very, very hard to distinguish. This is the guy who has a nice car, a nice apartment. He has a life. He pays his way through his life. He's attractive. He's good looking. He's age appropriate. He ticks all of the boxes. He's that guy. And this guy has invested his whole financial future and whole financial life into creating this image around him of wealth. He drives a car that he can't afford. His clothes are super expensive. He's very focused on making sure that when a woman meets him, she meets affluence, she meets money, and therefore lowers her guard completely. Usually these men either renting these things, or they don't actually own these things, or are paying a premium for these things. And it is to draw in women that are looking for successful men, women who are just, in search of that high value man in terms of the things he has. And they're kind of playing up to the hypergamous nature of us women. And so you would think, wow, of course, he's the one doing all the giving. He's the one with a lovely apartment. He's the one with his own stuff. What could he possibly want from me? And sometimes you could even be earning less, or you could be, in a slightly not so good situation. He could be earning more than you. But this guy is on the level up. This guy is trying to reduce his expenses so that he can level his game up some more. So if he moves in with you, if he leverages on, I had a friend who, her man, once again, he had the big job, the big suit, the big car, the big everything, and he would spend an enormous amount of time at her house, because whilst he's at her house, she's got to do the grocery shopping, she's got to pay the, he's using her electricity, her water, he's using her resources. He's using, he's not having to use up the resources in his house as much, because his house is very nice, very expensive, and all those expensive things draw a lot of power, and etc. And he would do that with other women. So he would really very rarely spend time at home, because his lifestyle was really very expensive. And I was in a situation like that as well. He drove the latest Jag and had this great job and owned this and owned that. But when I scratched under the surface, I realized that this person is not actually financially viable. Now, what these guys do is they have a budget. So if they see a woman like you who is ambitious, driven, forward-thinking, knows what it is that she wants, is a go-getter, that kind of energy really, really, really draws the gold digger guy on the level up game. And he's gonna think to himself, you know what, if I join that train, I'm gonna kind of, like when these runners are kind of running behind and allowing you to break wind, and they kind of run behind you, and they will position themselves. And once they eventually charm you, take you on expensive dates, give you, lavish you, get you into bed, now they don't have to spend so much, and then suggest that everybody move in with each other. So that way, again, costs become extremely low. Once they've got you in situ, then comes the reality. Now they expect you to pull your weight. Now you have to be supportive. Now you are the gold digger and not them, and they expect you to help them. They have, even when they move in, they'll cover everything at first and make sure the fridge is full and make sure that the bills are paid. And then they come with a, I'm a working man, how do you expect me to handle everything? Because they had anticipated that when you get into that situation, you've obviously been running your house without their help, so they know you can afford to. So their idea is to come in and lavish you with all the stuff that they can do, and then pull back until you are doing all the heavy lifting, and then they need to start a project and they need your support. These kind of scenarios are very, very dangerous to us as women. We need to be aware. We need to be aware that we are now an endangered species, that the ambitious, successful woman that is making inroad in this world, earning well, doing well for herself is now an endangered species, because there is now a whole new breed of men who are ready to exploit that instead of compete with it or be offended by it or reject a woman by it. Because we know that as ambitious, successful women, men will either be intimidated or they will be put off or they will compete. And of course, there's that high value guy who will just adore, support, and just back up his woman. And these are the men that we're here talking about in Chengi's world, how to get the attention. But we also have to be aware that that other guy is there, he's a predator, and he will wound you emotionally and sometimes even financially if you let him in. So we're going to talk about, you know, what are the signs in the next video, what are the signs a woman can look for that will alert her to the fact that this man is a gold digger. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you on my next video. In the meantime, take care of you, and if you need anything, any tools for dating, the audio version of the affirmations is now available. Go grab yourself one. You can do your affirmations as you do your makeup, as you take a walk, as you drive to work, or just doing your usual rituals for the morning. You can now listen to the affirmations and repeat after me. Together we will change your value and really put you in a position to meet amazing men. In the meantime, angels, do take care of you. Love you lots. Bye bye now. Mwah.